national tallying of the presidential election results that started on Thursday evening up to now. We have been receiving results 4 times now, with the Electoral Commission coming in, updating, and the 4th time was yesterday, where we got to know how different candidates were performing. And so far, according to what they gave us, candidate Yoweri Museveni of the NRM is still leading with 6 million votes, 851,406, which is a 73.72%, according to the Electoral Commission, as led by Justice Byabakama. Yoweri Museveni is followed by NUP's Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu with 2,105,921, which is a 22.66%, and that one is followed by Nandala Mafari of the FDC, who has 175,331 votes, which is a 1.89%, and that there comes in Jenom Jeshamuntu with 49,259, which is a 0.53%. That is how it stands. And the total of the votes so far that have been tallied and counted and brought in here are 9,524,709. That is how it has been. We have also gotten some updates about members of parliament. I'm sure our people at the broadcast house have been sharing them, and they are giving it to you live. So that is the situation here. This very morning, as we left here, the Electoral Commission chairman promised that they would give us another update, a public update, this morning at 9 a.m. So as we are here, that's why we are opening this broadcast as we wait for the commission to come in to give us what other gatherings they have, what other updates is there in as far as the tallying is concerned. We shall be talking to other leaders. Yesterday we talked to observers, the Electoral Commission, and so many others. We want to get now to talk to some leaders, especially the opposition. What is their view of what is happening and how are they performing? How do they look at their performance as the opposition? I have the Secretary General of the National Peasants Party. I am very right. It's just your name, sir.
Sheriff Central Munambale.
Okay. So how are you personally? How have you observed the process from the polling day? Actually, let's start with the campaigns, where it started. How has it been on your side as a party to date?
We have done what we are supposed to do. Article 1 of the 1995 Constitution is clear. Power belongs to the people. We went to the people, gave in our message, we read to them our manifesto, showed to them what we are going to do to transform a new Uganda. And here we are. The tenets of democracy, one of it is election. The component of a good election must be a fair and a clear one, which must be free from obstacles, free from security inclusion, free from bribery, free from threats, free from use of public resources, which has been established with clear observation in Uganda. So, if we came to participate in a free and a fair election, we expect to get results that are trusted.
But we will get there. I wanted a picture to start from how the campaigns have been to where we are. How has it been? You a party that is having a presidential candidate for the first time, I suppose. How has it been testing the waters? How has it been on your side? How has it treated you?
We had our constitutional obligation. One, we are using personal resources. We had to struggle to see that we reach our message to all Ugandans. Of course, we faced a lot of predicaments. Some of them were the bad infrastructures, high costs of survival in the field, police brutality, because security could distort us. You know, distances connecting to one district to the other becomes a problem, and we had limited time. Of course, we are dealing with a man who has been in leadership for 40 years. He uses public resources. The consolidated fund is managed by the way he wants. And we, the opposition, and in fact his starters in the race, we see a lot of challenges. When you communicate to other colleagues in the play, other political parties in the force, they tell you a lot of things that are relatively similar to yours. However, our colleagues have, other colleagues have also received a lot of brutal treatment from security apparatuses and security organs, which you think wouldn't be the case.
How many districts has your candidate managed to reach in the campaign trail?
We managed to reach out to 89 districts because of our limited resources. But indeed, since we are peasants, we have done a lot. And to other districts where we have not reached, still we tried to communicate through our task forces that we created. And that is why you see we have tried to gather a number of votes from different districts.
You say you're using personal resources. I'm imagining how stretching that is to sponsor a presidential candidate countrywide, 89 districts to date with posters and all that. One would wonder really how you are funding that as individuals.
You see, when you read the Commonwealth protocols, we must live in line with a growing democracy. However, these third world countries, development countries, are failing to reach to the standards. A country like Uganda, which has now a population of close to 50 million, would be cognizant to the fact that if you want to grow democracy, you must agree to have a relative competition. And that relative competition must be facilitated by the state. If you don't want to facilitate a smooth competition, you would not be looked at a person who is willing to see democracy grow. Now,
are you talking about government or the Electoral Commission, for that case, sponsoring the candidates?
Of course, initially, you saw Electoral Commission could fund political parties. Electoral Commission could offer a vehicle for a candidate. But look at the situation where you were given over 24 policemen. You take charge of facilitating them where to sleep in the field. You take charge of facilitating them on what to eat. You take charge. You see, when
I thought the Electoral Commission foots all that.
And they do some consultations, because me have been handling them as in particular, because we are human.
All they give them is this pickup where they sit and all that.
And a card of fuel. Then how do you eat when your fellow citizens are starving? As a presidential candidate who is sober, must be a human being. You don't need to have an in any heart. You sit there and eat when you in fact they are protecting your life and you are not eating. So that is stretching. As I would argue government to introduce new reforms, electoral reforms.
I'll come to that. You realize that by the time a party is started, built, and gets to a level of even taking national leadership, wouldn't this party be able enough to foot their bills, facilitate and sponsor their operations and their endeavors to take leadership? Why didn't you put up mobilization funds, fundraising programs towards elections, or 2 years before that? As the Peasants Party, you can see we are peasants, but we have a program like this. We would need to fundraise and have some money. You get? Why didn't you take up that?
No, we need to look at the favorable part of the laws. When you look at the Political Party and Organization Act, it is deriving from Objective 2 of the 1990 Constitution, which enshrines that all political parties and civic organizations must be manned in a democratic principle, through a democratic principle. Now, you as a party, before you get to that, you must have a delegates conference to decide who is going to be the party flag bearer. And that one always goes through a process. By the time you decide that this is going to be a flag bearer, it is almost climaxing to the end of the political term. So we needed to have reforms that protect these political players to see that we get a relative political climate.
The other day I was asking Justice Uga-American here about the issue of people gathering at the polling station, where he said, yes, it is the law, but, so I asked him, why did you take steps to seek an amendment of this law? Because now it looks like you'll be breaking the law. I'm giving that as an example. All of you, the people in the opposition, I think you let your supporters down here in this line. You have MPs in parliament. They don't talk about political reforms, electoral reforms for 5 years. And you come out to complain. This is not the first time, and it is not you alone. But we get to hear complaints of unfair laws, unfair electoral laws, which you come to complain about during election time, when one would say it is already late. You get? Being on the opposition, much as you may not be having MPs in parliament as a party, but I'm sure you have MPs that you agree with in the NUP, in the FDC, in the DP, in all those political parties that are on the opposition. How come we don't get to hear these MPs front these reforms only to wait for election time and we hear complaints?
You see, you must have a goodwill of a country to have such good laws being put in place. Initially, our legislators, such as the Right Honorable Mpuga, have moved motions and bills to see that we have electoral reforms.
How were those bills received? Actually, I would say they were beat, they were beaten, they were thrown out, they were not supported by people in the opposition itself.
Okay, what about the people in NRM? Did they welcome them? Because when you have the majority, you need to have a blessing to good bills, to good proposals brought by other legislators. You see, we need to have change in the way we proceed in Parliament. Where an opposition pushes a bill that has advantage over Ugandans, we should support.
But as the opposition, you're the ones that are not favored by the current laws, electoral laws that we have. So one would expect that it is you to mobilize the colleagues on the NRM side to support you where these may also be favorable to them.
But before even we go to that, what is the role of the Attorney General? You see, we have a constitution, a Supreme Court ruling and decision where court, in the case of Mama Mbabazi versus Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, court gave orders that we must install electoral reforms. Up to now, there is nothing that has been done. I think it is prudent for the Attorney General to play his part. If a full organ of government gives a decision, makes a decision, it must be respected. Before even these people who give minority advices and reports come in, such other steps from other organs must be respected.
You were talking about something. I want us to wind up with this one. You were talking about something to do with the results. When you forwarded the complaints, the Electoral Commission came up and provided the platform. Do you still have complaints?
Absolutely. No, we are yet to give our conclusive report over the general overview of what we have so far observed. That is why we are here. And I'm an agent of candidate Kasivante. There is a reason as to why we give in all our time to participate. You see, there are a lot of inconsistencies within this election. When you look at now the BVVT machines, why didn't they work? Is there an express law that gives a mandate to the Electoral Commission to suspend them? When you read under the rules given by the minister in the middle of the election, there are no express provisions to suspend such elections. Was a law, in fact, this was a subsidiary law that was enacted to initiate this election. And once it is done, then you have breached a law. So we call upon this time round, I know Mr. Uga-American is observing, Me, I'm only agitating him to move in line with the law, because the law is clear on how electoral commission business must be managed.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's talk to the religious leaders as well, but we shall have more time because you're here and you're an observer and you're part of the process. Thank you so much. Yes, he's the Secretary General of the National Peasants Party, and that is his view of what is happening. He also shares the performance of his candidate with reasons. He explains why their candidate is performing in that particular way. If we are to share how that candidate is performing, according to the last update, candidate Kasirante so far has 28,080 votes, which is 0.30% out of the 9 million votes that so far the Electoral Commission has tallied in the presidential election. That is the Secretary General of candidate Kasirante's political party. Now, the observers here are of different categories. We also have religious leaders. I have the Deputy Mufti. He's going to tell us his name, and we shall have the discussion. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers and listeners.
Your name, sir?
I am Sheikh Waiso Muhammad Ali, the Deputy Mufti of Uganda.
Okay. What would you make of the whole electoral process from when we started the campaigns till where we are, that we wait today for the final declaration?
Indeed, we thank the Almighty God for the appropriate preparations that were made, and the safety of the process since its beginning to date. We have been seeing everything being done in order as it was expected before.
As religious leaders, what would be the expectation, or what would be your role in such a process? And this time around 2026, do you think you have played it, that part that you have to play as religious?
Indeed, our role has been to render necessary support for guidance, and also to mediate between the community and the players, the political players, and the Electoral Commission and other parties over issues of concern. We have been able to visit the community entirely in the whole country, and we got to know their needs and concerns. So we have been providing these to the concerned parties, be it the Electoral Commission or the individual political parties, and also the government. So this has helped quite a lot to calm down a number of concerns of the public, and also to reinforce the peace that has been witnessed throughout the exercise.
There have been worries of the young people erupting into chaos and doing whatever. In fact, njagala tukikyuse tugize mu Uganda ku nsonga eno. Ensonga y'abavubuka okubakakkanya bagoberere ensonga zino mu bukkakkamu. Sheikh ogyogirako ki?
Yes, abavubuka kituufu balina bingi ebibatawaanya, balina bingi ebibakwatako, naye nga okuyigirizibwa ku biki bye bateeka okusuubira mu prosesi eno bibadde nga tebyakolebwa bulungi. Kwegamba nga tebamanyi kiki kyennyini ekituufu ekigenda mu maaso, wabula nga bawuliriza sometimes bye bawuliriza nga biri si bya mulamwa, naye ng'ate bibajja ku kituufu. N'olwekyo ne babuzaabuzibwa mu mbeera ezifaanana bwe zityo. Tugezezzaako kinene era nga tuyita mu bavubuka bannaabwe okulaba nti tubamanyisa ebisuubiro ebituufu mu prosesi eno, n'okubeera nga bateekwa okubeera n'enneeyisa entuufu mu ngeri gye bakwatamu ebintu byabwe n'obutabeera na buvuyo bwe beetabamu kubanga obulamu bwabwe y'ensibuko ya buli kimu. Enkyukakyuka zonna zirina kujja mu mirembe ate ezo zonna ezijja mu ngeri embi era zivaawo mu ngeri mbi. N'olwekyo ne tubakuutira okubeera nga bakwata ebintu empola ate n'okubeera nga tebabuzaabuzibwa.
John n'omukulembeze gwe nayogeddeko naye era nga bwe twogera wano n'agamba nti abavubuka bagenda mu bujagalalo biki ne mugamba nti okusinziira ku bituwulira nga bwe tulaba ebigenda mu maaso abavubuka balowooza nti balina ensonga ezitakwatiddwa bulungi. Mmwe abakulembeze boye gwe nabadde kyogera naye ne mugamba nti balina ensonga z'abavubuka oluusi abavubuka ze balaba ng'eziba zitakwatiddwa bulungi. Bubaka ki buyinza okuwa abakulembeze ku nsonga eno ti olumu oba oliawo balagajjalira ensonga z'abantu abantu ne bakemebwa okugenda mu mbeera ezitaalibadde ntuufu. Bubaka ki bwolina kuba tulina abapya kati abagenda okuyingira betulonze
naye kwegamba abantu tulina okukitegeera nti tewali kiseera kyonna gye watagenda kubeera bwetaavu oba okubeera nga ensonga ezikwata ku bantu zonna zikwatibwako. Ate tewali kiseera ky'oyinza kugamba nti byonna bikoleddwa oba bituukiriziddwa. Olitakulimba nti ne bwali baani oba ali baani oba ne bwe tugenda mu mawanga agaakulaakulana edda up to now waliyo ebintu bikwata ku bavubuka ku bantu bonna obwetaavu obutatuukiddwako. N'olwekyo olitakulimba nti wagenda okubeerayo omulembe ogumalayo byonna. N'olwekyo ffe mu mbeera eyo era twakolako ne conference y'abayouth bonna nationally Uganda Muslim School Council okuba empawalinga okubawa amaanyi mu ngeri ki y'okutegeera ebintu mu perspective entuufu n'okulaba nti babeera bakkakkamu mu kunoonya ebyo ebitatuukiridde okubeera nti bikolebwako n'okutwala obulamu bwabwe ng'ekikulu kubanga obulamu tebudda ate ne bwoba weebuli nga naye bukututte mu kkomera nakyo oba tolina kyobufunyeemu oyinza obulamu bwo bwonna okumalira mu kkomera mu ngeri etabadde entuufu.
Abakulembeze balagajjalire abantu ebintu ebyetaaga oba oliawo eriyo ebisoboka nga tebabifa.
Abakulembeze tubasaba okubeera nti bakola ekisoboka okulaba nti embeera ezikwatagana ku bantu naddala abavubuka baziteekako essira ate n'okumanyisa ebibalemye okutuukiriza n'ensonga lwaki bibalemeredde kubanga ekituufu kiri nti tebasobola kubimalayo byonna ate era ebimu bituukibwako mu kiseera ekitono ekyokumpi ate ebirala birina kutuukibwako mu kiseera ekyewala nga bikolereddwa ekituufu. Naye tuve ku byobufuzi obw'okulimba nti ebintu biyinza okukolebwa mu lunaku olumu byonna tekisoboka. N'olwekyo tulina okubeera transparent kwegamba abeerufu mu kulaba nti twogera ku nsonga zonna nga bwe ziteekeddwa okubeera n'okunnyonnyola abantu ekituufu. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu. Tubaagaliza mwenna emirembe n'obutebenkevu mu ggwanga era tusaba Omukama Katonda ensonga eno ebbe bulungi ate etugwe essanyu.
Amiina ya Rabbi.
Bebalimisa.
Sheikh Waiswa Deputy Mufti wa Uganda obubaka bwabadde nabo eri abavubuka okubeera abakkakkamu wadde nga tulina obwetaavu bwe twetaaga bukolebweko naye ate n'abakulembeze ekisooka ebintu by'abantu ebisoboka mu biteekeko omulaka bisobole okukolebwa baleme kukemebwa kweyisa mu mbeera etali ntuufu naye ate nga temusuubiza bye mutaasobole ogenda kuba ne ofiisi emyaka 5 Sheikh agamba nti naye ate osuubiza ebintu ebiyinza okukolebwa mu myaka 4 kakati abantu batuuka okubikubanja mu butuufu nga tosobola bwe tutyo bwe kyatambula. So nga binagambye tusuubira Electoral Commission katuddeyo eri emmeeza ekulu bwe balenya okubeera nga otulaba. We are still We are still coming live to you from the National Talent Center here at Uga Matching the Sabakabo. We are still waiting for the Electoral Commission with the head of, with its head, Justice Simon Uga-American, to give us another update as they promised last night. We thank you so much for watching. We still talk to more leaders as we continue, and other observers and other stakeholders as they will be coming in here to get their view of what is happening and different messages that they have to the public. Let's get back to you later. Back to Broadcast House.
Jordan, and of course, those interviews. Very interesting. I enjoyed the shift when he said you're going to Parliament for 5 years of that electing office. And he promised things that can be done in so many years. Now, when people ask you for what you promised, there is not much you can do. And of course, the first Secretary General he interviewed, who said, well, we weren't able to traverse the entire country because of shortage in funds. We couldn't have the money that would take us around. But also pointed out some areas that he felt they have to be improved to enable fair play. Now, let's begin with the promises being made.
Exactly, and I think we talked about it last time. Sheikh, thank you. I was the former second deputy Mufti of Uganda, and his message. Why would you promise what you don't even have? What you don't? It's like you're a liar, and most of them have been voted out. Some of these culprits that have become victims, you promise heaven and earth. You promise heaven, but you yourself, you don't know where heaven is. So the law is clear. The role, for example, of a parliamentarian is to make the laws, monitor government programs, and the oversight, role to make sure government's budget is passed. Those are the roles of an MP. Now you hear them. Oh, vote me, your children, I'll take them to America. And after, that's why they hide. When they pass through the first time, they say, Naha, visa, Naha, Trump, Yatabeko, and they're not to come to explain.
In relation to that,
yes,
and the fact that the last provisional results that came out indicated that 230,897 votes were invalid. What do you make of civic education? Because if I'm coming to contest as a member of parliament for a certain constituency, and I'm telling you I'm going to take your children to school, pay school fees for them, do this, and then you vote for me, and after 5 years you demand, why didn't I take your children to school? What does that mean? And also connect that to the number of votes that someone woke up, a mature person, because voting in Uganda, you must be 18 years and above.
Exactly.
Now, a man smart like Kambura woke up, the wife gave him breakfast, he gets his verification, voter slip, gets his national ID, and says, I'm going to vote. And he's among the 230,897 people who reached in the Benson and didn't know what to do.
Truthfully, is that we need to increase funding to the Uganda Human Rights Commission, because they are the ones that are constitutionally mandated to educate Ugandans on how to vote, for example, who is the leader, qualities of a good leader, and also translating the constitution in edible, readable, understandable local languages. And so Ugandans are 45 million Ugandans. But you find majority of them, they even don't know the role of these leaders. What is the constitutional role of the president? What is his limits and his capacities? What is the role of the parliament? The separation of power, the judiciary. So that's why they are being lied. And some of them have ended up being victims of corruption. Someone comes, no, that's not the role of the MP. And so some of them all along, now it is justifiable, some of us observers, and that, hey, wait a minute, why is it there is too much disruption? Why? Because people like us, Global Peace Foundation, have come to complement on the role of government to educate Ugandans on the separation of power, the role of a citizen, the limitations of different leaders at different levels. And because of that, we are going to have peace during and after elections. My problem is that now we have brand new leaders. They must know that this work must continue, and they must tell the leaders, the voters, that as an MP, my role is not to bury citizens and contribute on wedding ceremonies and burial ceremonies and what. No, you were voted to do 3 roles, as I've talked about. The president was not voted to go and bring you to come and bury your citizens. And his role to keep Uganda safe, to keep Uganda peaceful, border to border, to make sure that the policies that he signs that are really the policies that are going to get you out of poverty. That is the role of the president. Now wait for your LOC ones. Those are your presidents in the villages. Those are the ones to visit you, who is dead, who is sick, who is what. And so the LOC ones are going to make the reports to the parliamentarians. The parliamentarians will take them to parliament. And then they will say, okay, I think we need a referendum on this thing. I think we need to increase more money in PDM. And that's how government works. But you find a policeman in this country operates like a judge. And you find that MOP is like a small god in the community, and he receives the cases. No, if you have a case, go to police, report to the police, don't go to the MOP. No, that is the role of the police station.
So people do not know what exactly.
And they have been voted out. They have been voted out because people are opening guys. They say, always they are reporting problems. You see, the report of the other teams, government departments.
So you've rightly said that the Uganda Human Rights Commission is in charge of this, and of course, Carol talks about civil society.
Yes, exactly.
And also they have a mandate to carry on civic education.
Exactly.
And because of lack of civic education, that is why we are finding that candidates at various levels promise things that are not within their mandate. And then they are given leadership positions. Then thereafter, people hold them accountable for things that were not in their mandate.
For example, I can give an example. MPs buy ambulances. It's a good idea.
Yes.
But why in this world would you manipulate? I take care of you. I am more responsible than the government. No, we want to see you. I'll address yourself in the parliament. We want our government to add 5 ambulances on the national budget so that my village can have an ambulance. It's not your role as an MOP to buy ambulance. You are actually trying to buy your Kwegura, and then after elections they are broke because now they paid you a salary for you to facilitate you, to pay you. That's your salary, which now you think it should go to manipulate voters. That's why many of them went broke. They went broke finally. So if you are an MP coming to parliament, don't waste your time manipulating people. Tell them I will not come to bar each of you. Actually, my role is to make sure you don't die. That's why the parliament to pass laws that are good on health sector. Not coming to bar every citizen, manipulate when you're buying suitcases of the dead people. No, that must stop. That is not your role. Yes, exactly. You are wrong. Don't vote to them again. Those who wanted to buy more these suitcases, they should actually prevent these suitcases. Caskets. You know, English is not a good language.
Well, that's Tambora here, the Global Peace Ambassador. And as we wait for Justice Simon Byabakama, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, to come up yet with more provisional results on how and who is leading, but also we know that by closure of business today, that is at 5 p.m., we are assured that Ugandans will have known who their next president is out of the 8. So far, we've had 4-time appearance of Justice Simon Byabakama giving the provisional results. But of course, we know that we shall have the final results anytime. Because as we look at the clock, the way it's ticking here, we just have hours to 5 p.m. It's already 9:30, so we just have hours to 5 p.m. And by 5 p.m., Ugandans must have known who their next president is. The question is, how do you maintain peace with all this excitement that may come, with all this sad mood. That is in case if your candidate doesn't make it. That welcome. How do you behave? How do you accept the news that so and so has won? How do you accept the news that so and so has been defeated? So it is first your personal responsibility.
Exactly.
So that as you jubilate, not break the law. You not jubilate and end up in a police cell, later in court. As you mourn, or as you express your dissatisfaction with the results, still you do not end up in police cells, or you don't end up being tear gassed, beaten, because you've acted in a manner that is not within the confine of the law. Our constitution is very clear. If you're not contented with the outcomes, you go to court. It doesn't give any other option when it comes to elections. You're not satisfied? Go to court.
Yes.
Gather your evidence.
Yes.
Go to court.
Exactly.
And the court will handle the next.
Exactly.
It doesn't talk about any other avenue like demonstrate, do this. Those are illegal. And should you engage in acts of violence, I'm told, and we had an interview, Timothy Nyangwesho had an interview with the IGP. He said, well, they're not willing to tolerate lawlessness at such a time. Milton.
Yes, you have said it very clearly. You know, the problem in African politics, and again it comes to us who are peace ambassadors, peace promoters, is that politics is seen as a die and do what, but people must not
put in our money,
invest our time in that money. Now, the problem...
I've seen posters here that I went to a photo studio to get, and of course they told me of that sign, just one like this. Say, hey, but I've seen people have almost entire streets, entire villages.
My problem is we have to push back the population so that the population has, they are like busy. I mean, we don't have people who are idle and they look at coming into politics as the last resort to survive on the earth. But then when we have a population, doctors are busy, billionaires are there, innovators. So people come to serve. You understand? There are these looters who look at politics as an opportunity to come and loot. It's like gambling. You understand? But in the work, even keep these body organs, and they come to die on somebody. I must pass through because they see also the privileges, the sweetness of those unregulated benefits, for example, empowerment. Big salary, big vehicle, now they are going to give them big cars, 200 million. No, that's why at this particular time, when we're in a junction, Trump did it in America, he shut down the whole government. This is an expensive government. And so somehow, politics, what you saying, they are not coming in the parliament, for example, to come and present a private member's bill and convince colleagues and say, I think this is the time to have a new curriculum that segments and enables young children to graduate with jobs. They never talk about that, even after all, the qualification does A6 and the equivalent. And that's why many of them also remain.
But very few, when we look at our parliament, very few have, most of them are very much about, we have professors, we have engineers, we have doctors, we have journalists, we have so many.
My brother, that's my complaint. My complaint is, as I'm talking to you, we need serious leaders who are coming to work. So serious people must be doing something wherever you are. Don't sit there and say, 2031. Then you get a seat in your village there and say, I know one job now. Can you get No, you must be working. So that they can lose. I will use the example of lose. Lose will not die on you like a mosquito. Yeah, he's busy in the farms. He's busy exporting coffee to Japan, America. And so he feels that coming to the barrel is actually to extend and come to some Ugandans. And so here you have people who are targeting workers, who have been able to say they can't create any solution, and they look at this period as a looting period, to engage by force. So if you're in that category, you have lost an election. My colleague, I was there, I was once upon a time a politician. But what I learned from my elders is that they had to give up everything they were doing. Doctors left treating people in hospital, the accountants left to work, the farmers left the land of their fathers, square miles in the village. They came here to Kampala, that we want to go to that parliament. And so after 5 years, they go back, they win it, they come back. It's like, even they go to banks, I am sure, give me more loan. No, this is not gambling. So we want to discriminate.
So when such people are some of the people in our politics, then that means they may not treat defeat easily.
We will force them. Do you know where force is critical? If they fail to be convinced that the 21st century leadership is about moral and innovative leadership. So I feel it is very critical for Ugandans to understand that. Don't to fear, oh, we have refused to vote for you. Well, it means you have enough time to improve. So it is this time between now and 2031. Improve your mindset towards the people you want to lead. Others are introducing tribalism. I think this community, they are more. I think we should vote this Kabila. I think we should. Then religion. Religion was playing critical role in Kigezi until the deputy speaker went to dismantle that. I salute you, deputy speaker, a youthful leader. He went to dismantle the center of religious intolerance in Kigezi mountains. And I thank him. Why? Because we want to see that leaders transcend what divides the population. And they use politics to unite people. So if you have that mindset that you will come and root us, you think we are the yesterday's voters, no, you must go home.
In your opinion, what has changed this time around? Of course, you know the official results are not out yet for presidential, but when we look at parliamentary, we've seen some members of parliament that are not going to return, but it's seemingly unbelievable. Because some of these, I won't mention names because earlier I talked about them. Some of these, one would think they have been so active in parliament. They have been very eloquent,
Yes.
articulate,
Yes, please.
and maybe the people's favorite. Some have been trending on all social media.
Yes.
Media houses have been running to them almost on every issue that is raised for them to either analyze or make a comment. You know, when just the people you know, when I was in the field, certain things happen and there are people you know that I'll run to. You know, this member of parliament understands, he will give us a comment, you know, but shockingly, these have not been voted back
Number
into
one,
office.
structure. The moment you do not have structure, it doesn't influence your winning. And so somehow, political parties, you're welcome on the table of elders. In this election, we saw the power of our democracy. The power of our democracy through political dispensation as enshrined in the Constitution. And so it means we are growing. Our democracy is growing, yet being challenged. And the way is the challenge is that if you are a political candidate, an MP, but your political party does not have a critical mass of followers and the structures of good mobilization.
Pambura, let me first cut you short. There is a special announcement, an official announcement on the reopening of all schools and education institutions. Reference is made to an official announcement issued on the 6th of January 2026 by the Minister for Education and Sports regarding the opening of all schools and education institutions across the country on 2nd February 2025. The ministry hereby informs you that due to the general elections and to ensure the safety of all learners, all schools and education institutions across the country are directed to reopen on Tuesday 10th of February 2026. For avoidance of doubt, this includes all international schools, tertiary institutions and universities, the vice chancellors, principals, head teachers, parents, guardians, school administrators, students, and the public are hereby informed that term 1 for the academic year 2026 runs from Tuesday 10th of February to Friday 1st of May. All school administrators are directed to adhere firmly to these dates and the approved school calendar published on the ministry's website. Signed, Dr. Kendres R. Tuyagenda, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, as of the 16th of January 2026.
Congratulations.
So that is a statement that has come in.
Congratulations.
And of course, we want to go to the Tally Center at Kololo, and there we'll be knowing more of the outcomes of the elections for members of parliament. That is both, and also being lively informed now that there is a press conference. Let's head there.
The agents are present.
So now, Rachel, I am the best candidate, and I have been declared the winner for MP seat, Nakawa East constituency. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're live in UPCTV. Your viewers, you're live on UPCTV. My name is Daniel Mugoya. Honorable. Yeah, honorable. No, it's not a special attention. Yeah, that's what I'm okay. Congratulations, friend. No, we're not recording that. Okay. Honorable, congratulations. What does this win mean to you right now?
Why don't we go far?
No problem, we can go. We're moving with the honorable, just away from the speakers. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, right now with the declared member of parliament for Nakawa East, who is Council Frederick Ruini. He is also the former Attorney General of Uganda. I will be speaking to him when I think this person in the tent. So I am lucky that I've been among the first people to move around with the honorable, who is splashing the NRM symbol, the NRM sign. Everyone is trying to congratulate him. Yeah. So, Kololo Independence Ceremonial Grounds, the designated place for the Kampala District Tally Center. So, when we can face this way, then I will take this my left. So, Honorable, first, I have already congratulated you. Yes. But if I can see you have won with 18,535 votes, which is so. What does this mean to you? You're speaking to the viewers of UBC.
It's a very big achievement, not only for myself and my family, but also for Nakawa East constituency and for Uganda as a whole. Because, as I have been saying, I am in politics out of conviction. I am not in politics out of convenience. 10 years down the road, I have not been in parliament. 10 years down the road, I have not been earning a salary from government. So, I kept serving the people. Because me, I lost the money which I used to get in parliament. I lost an office. But I kept the job of serving the people. People have been coming to me at my office on Parliament Avenue, Ruhindi and Kampala Advocates. These days they call it Ruhindi and Nakawa Kampala Advocates. I kept serving my people. People come there of all walks of life, from all walks of life. And I give them pro bono services, free of charge. You see? At home, in Bugolobi, Block 7B8, when they come, I serve them. There are those fellows who lack something useful to say, you are only serve them with a cup of tea. Yes, when a person visits you at home, don't you share a cup of tea with him or her? But beyond that, we do so many things to serve the people. Otherwise, I would not have gotten this position 10 years down the road, which means I kept serving the people. So the people came and said, since for 10 years you have not had an office, since for 10 years you have not been earning a salary from Parliament, and you kept serving us well, in your means, let us take you back to that office so that you can serve us better.
So, you left 10 years ago, and now, what are some of those things that your people have been missing in the constituency?
Many things. Actually, as a matter of fact, go there, those people will tell you that ever since Lim left, nothing new has come in the constituency. During my time, we actually put there so many things. We built infrastructure. We are now building a strategic road, the Port Bell Road. Certainly that is President Museveni's vision, because when you reach Port Bell, you are connected by sea to Tanzania, to Kenya, and some other parts of our globe, or East African region. So, that road is a strategic road. And you can see it's going to be a beautiful road. And I want to tell you that even the agreements on which it is being constructed, I'm the one who signed them when I was still Attorney General. You understand? Schools, actually we have one school, USC school in Nakawa East, that is Missouri East. And I want to tell you, there is land which I saved from being grabbed by thieves, which is part of Chiswa Primary School by the roadside. Let's go back parliament. We are now going back parliament. I will ensure that on that land, I influence other players of government to ensure that there is another USC school in that constituency, on that land. Let me finish, my brother. We would have started with Mutungo parish, which is the most densely populated parish in the whole country, because it has 51,000 registered voters. But of course, let's start with a place where there is already earmarked land. Yes, and so many other things. You know, yes.
I want to get back to your statement where I say that 10 years there's been nothing new. But remember, in the last 10 years you're talking about, the NRM has been implementing the manifesto. So are you trying to say that the people of Nakawa East have not benefited from the manifesto?
Who lobby for it? They go instead fight it. Take an example of PDM. Haven't you been hearing some of these opposition people fighting PDM? Haven't you? Just answer me. Yes or no? PDM ya Ugumazawad. Why are they being Gumazad by the salaries they get from Parliament? Okay? Now these people are getting a small amount of money to improve their livelihoods, and people are fighting it. You get? So, when you say, but NRM has, with whom would it implement services if the voices which will bring those services are not in those respective places?
Why is it that the country has termed the word lobbying as a prerequisite of a member of parliament? Because there are specific duties the member of parliament is supposed to do. So when a member of parliament does not lobby, then he's not working for the constituency. What is this narrative?
No, you get it wrong. There are four principal roles of a member of parliament. One is legislative, to make laws. Okay? The other one is representation for your people in your area. That's where lobbying comes in. Lobbying means that you go there to influence other people, not undue influence, but to alert them that there is a challenge in this particular area which needs to be sorted out. You understand? That is representation, the representation role. Law-making role, representation role, oversight role, to ensure that what is being earmarked to do a particular assignment actually does it. That is oversight. And then the other one is appropriation. Okay? Because Parliament is principally charged with the duty to appropriate the funds for the service of the people. So when you say that lobbying is not one of the roles for a member of Parliament, no, you are wrong. It is. That's the representation role.
Okay, finally, ahead of your celebrations, you come to this position at a time when your major contender is in prison, and you're going to serve a section of people who are maybe partly supporters of you, your supporters and also supporters of the person in prison. So how are you going to bring cohesion in the constituency?
Let me reach there. I will of course be interacting with the relevant officers. Then I will fully the context in which he was arrested and in what context we can actually push that matter forward. You know, I had a man I served with in politics in Nakawa, Mzee Dancer. He used these people who would ask him about certain things he didn't understand. He would say, but I'm like a fish. Of the water where I stay principally, not on the Rukanu, on the land itself, on the dry land. So why don't you? I have been given an opportunity by the people. Okay, let me go to Parliament. Then you come and ask me, what have you done about this matter, and how do you go about it?
Honorable, 10 years is a bit long because the rules of the game normally change. The dynamics of but the ideas you had for your people that time still work for them.
That's the problem. That's what affects us. And I can see your mindset. Because your mindset seems to be fixed on tactics, not mission, not strategy. You see, values, human values, don't change. A human being always wants to eat. A human being needs to be educated. A human being, when he or she falls sick, needs help. Medical help. Those are values. How we help our people on not on convenience, not on experience or personal greed. Because what is actually killing us is personal greed and selfishness. And we must change. The sooner, the better. To fight against greed and selfishness.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frederick Ruhindi. That has been Honorable Frederick Ruhindi, who says that human values do not change. Just to remind you, Honorable Frederick Ruhindi has been declared the winner of Nakawa East constituency. He is the third person who has been declared in this returning center of Kampala district since we camped here on Thursday night. Ruhindi won with 18,535 votes. Then his major contender from the National Unity Platform, who is currently in jail, Alex Waiswam Fobino, garnered 15,186 votes. The DF candidate garnered 3,020 votes. I will be leaving here because the returning officer of Kampala, Muhasia Rashid, I've already had him calling upon other players, and that is much in the West constituency, and I think very soon from now he will be declaring the winner. But just to remind you that this morning at around 4 a.m., other candidates, including Abubakar Kawalia of Rubaga North, and then Nasoro Ilgen National Union. These are both candidates from the National Unity Platform. They were declared winners in the parliamentary seats in Kampala. So this implies that the 4 candidates who have been declared so far in Kampala, the NRM and the National Unity Platform are sharing the results, because Inupa so far secured 2 slots, and then the NRM party has also secured 2 slots, that is Frederick Ruhindi and Hajat Misa Kabanda. So Bekar Kawalia won with around 30,589 votes, then followed by Katongo Lesing, who is also a long-time veteran politician, who garnered 9,526 votes. Mariam Lutale garnered 1,221, and total number of votes were 43,290 in that constituency of Rubaga North. But I want to bring my concern to the number of invalid votes, because when you look at the number of invalid votes in Rubaga North and Rubaga South, they tally to almost 4,000. So this really puts a lot of question to civic education, because I've been witnessing the Electoral Commission trying tooth and nail to ensure that the public is educated on how to vote. So I don't know whether it is a mindset or it is anger. So it is something that needs to really need to be questioned, because in Rubaga North, the total number of invalid votes were 1,829, and in Rubaga South, where Nasoro won, the total.
The national anthem, please. Everybody standing, I would like to invite Sheikh Ali Waiswa, the Deputy Mufti of Uganda, a member of board of the Interreligious Council of Uganda, to come up front here and lead us in a prayer to commit today in the hands and guidance of the Almighty. Sheikh Ali Waiswa, the Deputy Mufti and member of the board of the Interreligious Council of Uganda. You're welcome, sir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I seek refuge in the Almighty Allah from the first devil. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of the Almighty Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful. The reading from the Holy Quran, the opening chapter of the Quran, which the Prophet taught us is the best prayer. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, sovereign of the day of recompense. It is you we worship and you we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those upon you have bestowed favors, not of those have evoked your anger or those who are astray. Almighty God of all nations, the source of human family, we give you thanks, Lord, for the freedom we exercise and the blessings of democracy we enjoy. We pray for the divine guidance to preserve and promote unity in diversity in our beloved nation. Guide our leaders and the citizens to act with wisdom, justice, and compassion. May the prevailing peace continue always and always. Give healing to the affected. Give healing to the affected and enable us to achieve the common good as a society in the period as we transit and to transit to a new government. Almighty God, we pray that the new officials to begin service serve with dignity, tranquility, and honesty, regardless of the election outcomes, and for affected by changes to find grace, and for all the citizens to foster love, care for one another in the evolving political landscape. In your mighty name we pray.
You may take your seats. Thank you very much, Sheikh Ali Waiswa, for committing today in the hands of the Almighty. The chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Justice Jawakam Bin Simon, the Deputy Chairperson, Hajat Aisha Mega, Commissioner Stephen Tashovia, Commissioner Peter Emerit, Commissioner Caroline Vinamadio, Commissioner Dr. Simba Kayunga Sani, Commissioner Anthony Okero, Mr. Richard Kamushalang, the acting secretary, agents of presidential candidates here, representatives of political parties, heads of observer missions that are present, both local and international, members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of civil society organizations, and those of government agencies, heads of clergy, media, members of staff of the Electoral Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the EC grounds, Electoral Commission grounds here in Reza, which is the venue of the National Study Center for presidential elections of 2026. I take this opportunity now to invite the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Justice Diawakam Simon, to constitute us and lead us. Thank you very much, Lord Chair.
Thank you very much, Julius. Our distinguished guests in your respective capacities, good morning and welcome to the National Study Center once again, where the Commission has the pleasure to update you and the fellow countrymen who are watching us on the various TV mediums. Today or this morning, would like to release further provisional results of the presidential elections as we stand at this hour. The total number of registered voters remain 21,649,067. The total number of polling stations are 50,739. As we talk now, the total number of police stations from which we have obtained the results are 47,499, representing 93.61% of the total number of polling stations across the country. The performance per candidate is as follows. Bulia Frank Kavinda, 44,328, representing 0.42% of the valid votes cast for the candidate. Kaswante Robert, 32,224, representing 0.30% of the valid votes cast. Kiagulani Center Robert, 2,601,150. Magnese Joseph, 22,274, representing 0.21%. So in the case of Kiagulani, that tally represents 24.46%. 24.46% for Kiagulani, who has 2,601,150. Mubisha, Muntu Oyera, 57,019, that is 57,019, representing 0.454 of the valid votes cast. Nyahwa Mubarak Serunda, 30,509 votes, representing 0.29% of the valid votes cast. Nandala Mafwadi James Nathan, 202,802, representing 1.91% of the valid votes cast for the candidates. Yoweri Tuhaurwa Kakuta Museveni, 7,643,778 votes, representing 71.88% of the valid votes cast. The valid votes in total for all the candidates are 10,634,084. Invalid votes 264,015. 264,015, representing 2.42% of the total votes cast. The total votes altogether, 10,898,099, representing 50.34% of registered voters. Spoiled votes, 38,223. This is the current update, and as we have been doing, I'm going to ask our technical people to relay the breakdown of the summary I've been reading on our screens for the benefit of our participants, so that you analyze and appreciate where the results have been written, have been tabulated from, or have come from. I also wish to inform our distinguished guests that the next update will be at 2 p.m. The next update or release of the provisional results will be at 2 p.m. I thank you. You are welcome. You can look at the statistics, analyze them, and you can have a cup of coffee if you want. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And breakfast is still being served in the service stands outside. This breakfast has been prepared for you by the
You are welcome once again to the Electoral Commission ground here at Ruboa in marking the Samaga Award. This is the home. This is going to be the permanent home of the Electoral Commission, first permanent home of the Electoral Commission, once the constructions that are planned have been set up. So you are welcome to the EC home. You are welcome to your home because it is your Electoral Commission. Thank you very much and take yourselves to breakfast and see you at 2 p.m.
Provisional results on how and when they do come in. Of course, may be waiting for the last update. That is at about 2 p.m. as he has mentioned, given the fact that we have so far covered 47,499 polling stations, making a total of 93.61% of the 50,739 polling stations. So for those who are watching us live, you can just get a pen on your table, get a paper, do some calculation. 50,739. When you do subtract about 47,499, you will realize that we have less than 10,000 polling stations left to probably get us the winner. Who will take it away? That is something we are yet to find out when the final verdict does come out from the chairperson himself and the entire commission. Of course, the race being between the NRM candidate Uga-American and the NUP candidate that is Robert Chagulanyi, who was about 2,601,150, making a total of 24.46%, and the candidate of NRM Uga-American having about 7,643,778, making it 71.88. Now, for those who can still get a calculator, it is very important for you to as well do your own chemistry in there and mathematics to find out who will take it away. But still, that is something we cannot confirm yet till when the justice himself, Uga-American, comes back with the entire commission to give us the last update. And of course, the valid votes gotten so far are 10,634,084. Those are the valid votes, and the invalid being in there with 264,025. The question is, if we do have a number of registered voters being 21.6 million voters, where are the rest? Where did we have the low voter turnout? These are things that Ugandans must be asking themselves, but there are very many reasons that Ugandans need to know, not forgetting that yesterday, but one and yesterday, those were public holidays. So you might think that very many Ugandans decided to probably stay in the comfort of their homes as they wait to see what will happen. But those who took it as a constitutional mandate to get out and vote did the right thing. Remember, every vote counts now. Whoever member of parliament, whoever president-elect will be announced by the Electoral Commission, those are people that Ugandans will have to look up to for the next 5 years. A number of manifestos have been read out and given out to the public. If you made the wrong choice, do not blame anybody, because you had the right to choose the right candidate to go and represent you either in parliament, but also when it comes to that heavy seat of the president-elect. But we wait to see. Right now, we still have a number of observers. We do have agents from the different political parties, the CPP, MPP, NUP, NRM, and FDC, and also ANT. All those are highly and well represented here at the National Time Center, where we do expect the final results to be given at about 2 p.m. Kakati Omulungi,
alaba UBC Nesta TV njogera okutegeeza nti omulamuzi Simon Byabakama mugenyi amaze okuba nga ate yatubuulira byebadde bakafunawo ebitali byakomeredde mu ddakiika nga 5 emabega atubuulidde nti omukulu bakafuna obululu okwa polling station oba ebifo ebironderwamu 1,497 nga bikola ebitundu 9 n'obutundu 16 ku buli 100 ate bwe tugenda ku mukulu Bulira Frank asobodde okuba nga afuna obululu obw'obudde buno emitwalo 4,328 nga bwe butundu 42. Kasibantu Robert afuna obutwalo 3 mu 2024 Robert Chaplain Center mu yakafuna obululu bukadde 2,610 mu 5 ng'akola ebitundu 24 n'obutundu 46 ku buli 100 ate omukulu Mabirizi Joseph n'aba yafuna emitwalo 2,1274 obululu nga yakafunawo ebitundu akatundu kamu ku buli 100 ate Gwegwe Mugisha muntu wa Anti n'aba yafuna emitwalo 5,719 n'aba naye yakafuna obutundu 5 ku buli 100 Munyagwa yakafuna obululu emitwalo 3,509 n'aba yakafuna obutundu 29 ate omukulu Amafari n'aba naye yakafuna obululu emitwalo 2,208 nga ke katundu kamu n'obutundu 9 mu kamu ku buli 100 ate candidate owa NRM Yoweri Kaguta Museveni n'aba nga twogera ayingidde obululu emitwalo obukadde 7 n'emitwalo 63,378 ebitundu 7 n'obutundu 88 ku buli 100. Ndine Honorable Minister w'abavubuka omukulu Honorable Balamu Barugahare alina ensonga gy'ategeezezza twagala tuwulire kiki kyagamba okusinziira ku ebyo ebisomerwa Honorable.
Ndi mpulira ennaku kubanga twakola nnyo nga manyi tujja kufuna obululu milioni 13. Tubadde wona bwe tutambula nga tugamba 13 million votes naye kyembi tukyali tetunaweza milioni 8. Sensuubira nti oba Electoral Commission erina obululu bwaffe bwetabaala kisimanyi.
Omukulu agambye akuba okusaamulana.
Kati nze mbadde nsuubira nti balina otwandibadde tuli kubanga tuli mu 94% okusinziira byayakalangirira. So tusigazaayo ebitundu 6 naye nina okunyolwa nti performance yaffe eri below average. Tetunafuna obululu bwe twali twagala. Twali tunoonya obululu emiliyoni 13 oba miliyoni 11 naye miliyoni 10 tetunaziweza. So nkyensuubira nti candidate waffe munyiivu alaba tetuna kye twakoze. So nsaba candidate President Museveni otusonyiwe obutakufunira bululu bungi kubanga wadde oyagala miliyoni 12 okusinziira amaanyi ge bateekamu naffe ge twateekamu.
Votatana otunwe bondoozo ogiraba okusinziira ku bukadde 21 n'obutundutundu obugwamu awo n'abakafunibwawo obudde buno
nti abalonzi tebamanyi mugaso gw'okuba akalulu kubanga projection ya NRM yali enoonya obukadde 13 naye kati tulina obukadde 7 n'emitwalo 6 nsuubira tetunaweza na miliyoni 8 ate tusigaza 4%. Sekitegeeza tuyinza obutaweza mu bukadde 8. So tukoze bubi tetukoze bulungi tukoze bubi nnyo era candidate kyemanyi munyiivu naye kati nga omu ku bakampeyina be nsaba candidate atusonyiwe abantu batukoze bubi kubanga tebazze nga tubadde tubasuubira. Twali tusuubira obululu bungi naye njagala kuyozayoza abo abawangudde n'okugumya abo be batanalangirira nti tulina obudde paka ssaawa 11 okulangirira ebivudde mu kulonda mu bitundu by'eggwanga byonna. Akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kusinziira ku mateeka bakola ssaawa 48. So nsaba ne Uganda buli omu abeere mu maka ge ekirangiro tusigazaayo nnya kati Bobi Wine ayinza otusingira mu 4%. Mu 4%
kyetulinza okulaba
tusobola tusinga mu 4%. Kati kyogamba 4% of polling station zisobola omukolera obukadde 3 n'atugjayo waggulu kuba olaba ali mu 25 tuli mu 7.
ensonga za kibalo Honorable anything can happen.
Kitwali kibalo kya 4% polling station za 4% esobola okumuleetera otuwangula. So me what I think wetubanga tugudde tujja kugwa mu 69 etuze mu projection isobola nga bano mbadde mbagamba 68 to 70 is not bad
but candidate was expecting 80%. Yeah, it is really unfortunate. We apologize, Your Excellency, Mr. President, for not scoring and not getting enough votes as we had promised. Because I knew we would get you about 13 million, not 12 million votes, or 11 million votes, but we are yet to make 10 million. So we apologize to Your Excellency for not delivering the 10 million we promised, and we are yet to make 8 million, but at least the person following us is yet to clock 3 million. Has it clocked 3 million?
Thank you so much, Honorable.
Double the person following us.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. He does allege that as they do their own counting, probably he has or they think they're supposed to get to a certain percentage, but that is in their own books. But of course, for us here, we are following the information that has been and is still to be given by the Electoral Commission, Chairperson Justice Simon Yokama, together with the entire commission. So apparently, we shall be getting back to the broadcast house for further proceedings, but of course, keeping a tab right here to see how things will be unfolding at a later time. I'm going to be interviewing one of the agents here from a given political party. He will be introducing himself. He will be telling us what he thinks, what has he observed so far, what are his fears, that is, if he has any. How are you, your names, and from which political party?
Yeah, my name is Agawa Nelson, from the Alliance for National Transformation Party, the official agent of candidate Mugisha Bwiko Muntu Weyera. We have just received the update from the Electoral Commission, and of course, even as of yesterday, it has been candidate Museveni in the lead. But the most concern is not about what they read here. We need to look at the process to which they came up, because an election is a process. So I can start making analysis from the day of polling. And when you look at prior, before the polling day, Electoral Commission for months and days, they had given us confidence, reassurance of how they had got a medication for any possible vote rigging by introducing the BBVK machines that would read our fingerprints, that would read our faces or iris.
But EC,
that wasn't followed.
But EC said that shouldn't be an issue as long as you have the voter location slip, or you appear on the National Voter Register. You have a right, you have a national ID, you can go ahead and vote.
Yeah, but in the first place, the assurance they gave us before when they introduced the BVVK machines, that shows that they had diagnosed the problem. They were not sugarcoating a cake. There was a problem that they were trying to address. So the question is, was that problem addressed? That's very key. So two, when you give assurance to the country that you are going to do A, B, C, D as the commission, even on the last observation briefing by the Electoral Commission, they gave that assurance. And the following morning, there are different orders, machines are not working, that's taxpayers' money in the first place, but also Electoral Commission and voting is about confidence to the citizens. So when the confidence is hands in balance, then many questions arise.
So do you have voters who refused to vote simply because the machines were not working? Is that your issue?
I think majorly it's not about that, because people voted. They came and voted. But the question is, why? Because we need to be critical here as the nation. The number one thing, if you go to the hospital and you diagnose malaria, and you're suffering from malaria, and they say we have got a new cure, which is going to be applied strictly to cure any possible illness in terms of the malaria. So the question is, when the time for medication comes and it is not given, and they say, go back to the old dose that you had, the questions arise. So there is that issue of especially with the polling, which gives the outcome of the results we have.
So you're not you don't agree with what has been given out by the EC, because I'm saying your candidate Mugisha Muntu has about 57,019 votes so far that has been gathered, making it a 0.54%. What is your next move?
Yeah, one, we are getting the results and also further gathering evidence. And at an appropriate time, we will, after analyzing the evidence that we will have on table, we will give a public briefing on the course of action of what possible has to be made. You cannot make a course of action without making proper analysis. We are a party that is designed on values, that is designed on principles that have to give confidence to the nation. And so we cannot just make, you first cross the bridge and then take a decision.
My last question, the Electoral Commission did put the laptops here for you as agents for the given political parties. You have looked into the system, into the graphs and the graphics in there. As and when votes are being input there, do you agree with what is in the system?
Fast forward, I raised an issue yesterday evening. That portal, one, is not user-friendly. Number two, there are some polling stations, actually, polling stations that are given in summary, where my president votes from. When you check that portal, you will not find the breakdown of the Uga-American Council as other polling stations. For example, if it is Uga-American Council, how many polling stations are there? And the breakdown of the voting pattern on each and every polling station. Here it is not shown. I raised this yesterday with the Electoral Commission. They advised me to reach the technical head of the technical team, which I did, but by this morning it has not been rectified. So that shows if I have discovered one, how about if I was given more time to critically analyze that system? Which really creates some little, major, dissatisfaction of how that portal works. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you do still hear allegations that are being said out by some of these agencies representing the Alliance for National Transformation. This could be an indicator that it is not yet over, because if agents still have issues, where does this lie? How will this unfold? How will this end? These are things that we shall be understanding at a later time as we still wait for the final verdict at about 2 p.m. But if you've been following some of these proceedings, the EC chairperson did say that if anyone has any issue, the courts of law are open. So the only way anyone can really go and try to testify or bring out any issue, they are ready to go and sort it out with the courts of law. That is in case they do have all the evidence that they need to ensure that they make their points valid. But that is something we cannot rule out, so we wait to see. For now, I will be returning back to the broadcast house for further programming.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey Poseidon, for giving us that update on the sixth, what you would indeed count as the sixth provisional result from the Electoral Commission. And it is just to reiterate, in case you're just joining in and you have missed the numbers as being read by the AC chairperson, Justice Simon Biarakama. Total number of registered votes is 21,649,067, and the total number of polling stations considered to have elected 50,739. Results so far from this sixth provision: 47,499 polling stations, accounting for 93.61% of the total polling stations. And looking at the candidates' performance thus far, Budira Frank, who has so far 44,328 votes, that is getting to a percentage of 0.42% of the valid votes. Robert Kasimante, who has 32,224 votes, accounting for 0.30%. Robert Chagulani has 2,601,150 votes, accounting for 24.46%, and Mabilizi has 22,274 votes, that is to 0.21%. General candidate Muntu has 57,910 votes, accounting for 0.54%, and candidate Munyagwa has 30,509 votes, accounting for 0.29%. Candidate Nandela Mapabi has 202,802 votes, accounting for 1.9% of the votes. And candidate Museveni so far in the lead with 7,643,778 votes, accounting for 71.88%. Valid votes there so far 10,634,084, and invalid votes are 264,015, accounting for 2.42%. Total votes altogether so far are 10,898,099 votes, counting for 50.34%, and spoiled votes so far account for 38,223 votes thereon. That is as the standings from the 6th provisional results by the Electoral Commission. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. I am with Joan Murunji, and it's at this point that I want to engage you, Joan, as we look at what you think of the numbers, or what you think of the rest compared to the 5th provisional results as of yesterday. We'll definitely be doing comparisons. Keep in mind that right now, as we speak, 47,499 polling stations have so far garnered results as being read, and we are left with about 3,240 polling stations.
Okay, that is about 6.39% of the remaining polling stations. Of course, first I want to commend the Electoral Commission. Right. It has been a bit swift in telling these results. And of course, numbers keep changing, and hopes are, stakes are high. And of course, a lot is being expected, as well as, yes, tempers are flaring up, and of course, so many mixed emotions that are going on within the candidates' minds, and of course, the voters' minds. But of course, the Electoral Commission is always here to guide us through and give us the provisional results. I'm saying the candidate who is in the lead over 71.88%.
Indeed. Joan will definitely get back to you, but right on standby is Timothy Nyangoso, who is also at the National Talent Center. So let's hear from him.
The results that are coming in provisionally, we have just finished almost the final session. Lastly but not least, we'll have one more session at 2 p.m. that will be giving us exactly what is happening. But I'm joined by Benjamin Katana, the Treasury General of the National Unity Platform. He's with me this morning. Benjamin, how are you?
Well, I'm not fine.
What is it exactly?
Especially with what has been happening. Clearly, I want first of all to put the record straight that what is being announced and relayed here is not a reflection of the will of the people of Uganda as expressed through the voting that transpired the other day. We started here by the Electoral Commission giving figures and without showing us where they were coming from. When we challenged them, they started giving a breakdown. When we compared with the declaration forms that we have so far, because on account of the internet breakdown or blackout, we don't have all of them. But the ones we have, clearly there's a discrepancy between what they are presenting and what obtained at the polling station. Clearly indicating that these figures were preconceived even before people went to the votes, the fabrication, and of course the NRM must have been embarrassed that after all they have taken us through, the people went ahead and defied their orders and voted for our candidate. That's why they have resorted now to fabricating results. But we are very confident that the people of Uganda heard the message, because throughout the campaign, the president has encouraged the people of Uganda that under Article 29 of the Constitution, they have a right to express themselves peacefully and lawfully and reject any attempt to subvert their will. And I believe that they will exercise that right and challenge the illegitimate and unlawful actions of the Electoral Commission.
What's the state of the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu right now?
Well, we may not be able to speak with certainty about what the situation is in now, because 2 days ago, the army and police besieged his home, denied us access, denied the media access. Last night we received a call from the members of the household that the security forces were breaking into the house. After that, their numbers went off. Nobody has been allowed to access the home. So we don't know if he's hurt, we don't know if he's in jail, we don't know if he has been taken away. We have seen a statement from police this morning denying, but we want to challenge the media to ask them why they cannot allow them to access the residence and speak to him and establish the state in which he is. But because they know they are up to mischief, they want to do it in darkness. They know they switched off internet, they have denied him access to media, they have denied media access to his home, they have denied the leadership of the party access to his home, and whatever they are doing is clearly outside the law. Because his home is not a gazetted detention facility, he has not committed any crime. The only crime he has committed maybe is running against Museveni. But we challenge them, if they are speaking the truth, to allow the members of public, the leadership of the party, the media to access his home and establish the facts as they obtain.
Finally, you've made very strong assertions. What is the way forward for the National Unity Platform plus your presidential candidate?
This is not a matter of National Unity Platform. It's a matter of the citizens of Uganda. It is their right to choose leaders. Now, if you take away their right, there are very many options under the laws of Uganda, and particularly we have been encouraging them to take advantage of the provisions of Article 29 of the Constitution to lawfully and peacefully protest against any attempts by the Electoral Commission to subvert their will. And we believe that they will exercise that right to assert their wishes on how they want to be governed.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. We appreciate your time this morning. You have had it from the National Unity Platform, the Treasury General himself, Benjamin Katana, informing us of what has happened, that the DR forms they have vis-a-vis the results they are seeing, there is something that is differing between the two, but also he has gone ahead to make assertions on what is happening with Honorable Robert Sentamu Chagulanyi, and he says as late as last night, his house was broken into, and that's the last communication. The police has also made a statement claiming they do not know anything about it. That is developing story that we need to keep our eye on to see exactly what has happened. But from us to you, we'll keep you bringing the updates to you, but also interviewing more people. We hand you over to the broadcast house.
Thank you very much, Timothy Nyangwe, so for that particular conversation. And indeed, let's start from right there, John. Benjamin Katana, who's representing NUP at the National Tally Center, shares his observations, says that results at the Tally Center do not match what is on ground, and goes ahead to say and claim that the NRM is actually fabricating these results, the results that the EC chairperson is releasing are fabricated by the NRM, and says that they are not exactly what is on ground by their own mathematics. But of course, before we even get into the uncertainty of their presidential candidate, that is the new presidential candidate, perhaps let me hear what your perspective is on the claims made. As you can see,